Alright, so this is a tricky thing. We're spamming the output. This is where a quick tracer might be better, because it periodically prints out error messages that are getting spammed out by this output. So I'm gonna try kill this. Yeah, ball prediction failed. Okay, close program. That's good to know that bull prediction kind of sucks. Sorry, I don't mean to insult people. Where were we at? We want to figure out our syntax error. So what it does, data class is not defined. From data classes import data class and one field. You've got a primitive value, so you don't need field. Mendist pass is not defined. Mendist pass is not defined. Self dot. Alright. Yay, we're passing. Sweet, that's nice that we pass. So sometimes, like, you know how we have parameterized our car start. We can actually parameterize this thing here as well. Just make sure that you respect this. So Mendist pass equals equals 200. So if you construct your pass in your ball with that, then Mendist pass, yeah. So this is just forwarding your arguments from this component grader with timeout. And we can do another one, drives to ball exercise, get as close-ish to ball, and grader equals drive the ball grader with Mendist to pass equals, let's make it like 600. Built-in functional method. Alright, so you can see that get close-ish to balls kind of resets much earlier. So this one goes right to the ball, this one only goes partial. So we do this 1000 to make it even more visible. So this one just goes to the edge of the gray circle in here. So yeah. Now we're gonna do some cleanup task. Well, something cleanup. We have both of these exercises. Actually, this thing inherits from striker exercise, but it doesn't actually use the striker grader. So what we should do is we should actually import from training exercise, because that doesn't specify grader and it might be more readable. So, and I think I haven't imported that, so from RLBotTraining training exercise import training exercise. But one thing that we kind of had to do multiple times is use this match config. We had to specify this property twice, and if someone wants to reuse this exercise, they might want to use it with their own bot, and don't want to always have to pull in this piece of code. So what I suggest you do is you actually don't put it in here as a default, but actually mutate it. So we've removed it, and training exercise runs these things with the simplebot by default, right? And simplebot kind of fails all of these things, but like fails both the patience tests, but it passes the good postable tests. That's great. What we want to do is for exercise in exercises, we want to change the exercises match config to this, right? Because data class just has these attributes, and we can just replace the attributes with the match config that we use in here. So now we don't need to specify the match config in here, but by default in our default playlist we use our own bot. So if you want to make this even more clean, then you could make these exercises in a separate directory, so that someone else could just grab these, plug in their own bot. They don't need to import this from a file which has make config with my bot. If you really like these, then I would, like, if you think they're useful to other people, then just commit them to the RLBotTraining exercises. There's a couple of different ones already. We name them after roughly their difficulty by player ranks. Like, someone at bronze should consistently be able to do these in a game. That's kind of the rough heuristic that we do, just to organize them. Like, it's not a strong correlation of skill. So if this is like a patience striker, because I don't know, bronze probably don't have always patience, so I'm going to say silver should have these strikers, and we're not specifying our game config. Oops, we didn't want to put it in goalie, we wanted to put it in striker exercise. So striker patience has this, and we are going to put it in the default exercise list. Striker patience. I'm going to shut you down, and before you commit these you should always run the unit tests of the Rocket League training library. By the way, this is kind of more of an extension than what you need to write your own things, but it's nice to contribute back to the community. So I'm gonna go into the RLBotTraining directory. Oops, I want to cd into that. So this has test all and test quick, bunch of unit tests, Python test quick. Just gonna make sure. Oops, it's a batch file, not a Python file. So runs 15 tests. Make sure that stuff works at a basic level, but we also have test all, which runs a bunch of exercises. So I'm gonna run you through different things that are happening. So this one, if I remember correctly, is imports from Buckers mod. So these are like human-created players, which might be a little bit hard for bots, but this one definitely seems feasible. But SimpleBot isn't nearly as sophisticated enough to do these simple tasks. Yeah, so I'm gonna let it run these 9 Buckers mod exercises, and then it's going to move on to other exercises. This one seems to be a simple goalie exercise. These are, I think, the easy striker exercises. So SimpleBot just was too slow in turning. There's the dribble thing, which we seem to completely miss. But all of these tests are just testing that the exercise runs and that we like fail to like